very often teach us amazing lessons if we're willing to sit and listen. And when I was wanting to put together the starting part that I want to put to this talk, there was a really awesome speaker that I met in the States in October last year, Gary Eby. And he said to me, don't put a word in your talk that could offend people unless it's going to add a whole lot of value. And so what I want to do today is I want to tell you what my little daughter Bryn said. She said, I was looking for a way to explain this word to you so that you'd understand it, but it wouldn't offend anybody. And what she said was, Andrew, it sounds like ship, but it ends in a T. Okay? So, what we have is we have a whole lot of diamonds sitting here in this room at the moment, okay? But unfortunately, as your lives have gone on, you've allowed yourself to accumulate a whole lot of ship around the outside of your diamond. And instead of finding ways to get rid of the ship and let the diamond shine, what we do is we think we fool everybody around us. And so we leave the ship in place and we coat the ship with lots of nail varnish. And then we don't only just put nail varnish on, but we polish it like hell and we really look after our ship. And we think everybody around us is fooled, but are they? So what I'm proposing to do today is I'm offering you a couple of ideas, concept, tools that I want you to take away and use. Everyone that hands back a evaluation form at the end, I'm told, will get a CD. Now what that CD is basically something that I want you to take away with you today. What I found is, I do these talks and then everybody goes home and they're like jumping, they're skipping and they're jumping through and they absolutely fire it up, and then Monday morning comes and it dies. So what I've done is I've put together 2 CDs for you that I want you to listen to in your mobile university. Do you know that we spend on average about 500 hours a year in our cars? Wasted time. Where we could be sitting and listening to rave music that's putting all sorts of negative stuff into our heads, or my all-time best, the news. Sad news. Justin Bieber was found alive in his flat chest. So we're filling our vessel with loads and loads of rubbish. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is take that time, take one of my CDs, put it in your car, and let it remind you about some of the lessons that you got today, and maybe give you a few additional lessons, a few additional ideas and concepts. So that on those days when ship happens, because ship does happen, let's be honest, on those days you've got some way of inspiring yourself, some way of sort of kick-starting your day. But one other thing that you do, and I'm digressing here quickly, I just want to tell you, go to my website, I've got a daily inspirational message that you sign up for, arrives in your email box, irritates the hell out of you, but it makes you think, let me do things differently today. Let me do them a little differently today to the way that I did them before. This is not their diamond, okay? Does anybody have any idea what this is? An acorn, okay. Where's the oak tree? Really? If I have to cut this acorn open, anyone going to see an oak tree inside here? What is inside here? I have vision. But what is really the potential? Absolutely. And that's what I'm seeing sitting here in front of me today, is a whole lot of people with bucket loads of potential. A whole lot of people that have one of these sitting inside them right now. What I'm asking you to do is to unlock yours. I'm asking you to ask yourself this question. What if it is just an apple a day? What if it is just these 3 concepts that I'm going to highlight to you today, that are going to revolutionize your life, that are going to change the way you do things, that are going to make your life better, different, and you don't try them? It's like a pair of shoes that fit me perfectly. If I had to put them on you, you'd probably get blisters. But if Dorian had to put them on, they'd fit him perfectly like a glove. And so these ideas and concepts may work for you. They may not. But how will you ever know if you don't try them? So that's what I'm asking you to do today, is to open your mind, to allow yourself to explore and experiment and feed your acorn. Because how big does that oak tree grow? That high? Or does it grow as high as it possibly can grow? It stretches its branches out as far as it can stretch. Why not you? What is our comfort zone? It's this little zone that's in front of us like this that we have self-imposed, that we've told us this is what we are capable of. But what's the reality? What is our potential? So why do we restrict ourselves to this? I'm offering you 3 concepts today. I'm saying to you, make time available. I'm going to give you a tool to make that time available called Meet Your Future. I'm going to offer you a technique, a commitment, a code that you're going to make with the most important person in your life. Who's that? Correct. You're going to make this commitment with yourself. Who do you hurt if you break commitments with yourself? And the third thing I'm going to give you is a tool to measure. Because remember, whatever gets measured, gets done. So if you're not measuring it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be done. So we're going to look at those 3 things. Now what I want us to do is I want us to have a look at what is the most scary place to be when somebody else is totally out of control and somebody else could change the course of our lives in a millisecond and they're not very good or competent. It's aboard an aircraft. So I want you to watch this incredibly good looking captain and I want you he might be good looking, but he doesn't have a lot of advice. Watch this, and we'll talk when I get back. Okay? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you on board Flight 231, or is it 123 or 231? I'm really not sure. But it doesn't really matter, because we're going to just take off and fly a little east and fly a little south for a while and maybe a little west, and we'll just sort of get up into the jet stream and let it take us wherever it wants to. Oh, by the way, I have absolutely no idea how much fuel we got on board, but of course that doesn't matter because we don't know where we're going. By show of hands, how many of you are going to trust that out to fly your plane? I don't think any of you. You're going to be like me. You're going to be wheel spinning off that plane as fast as we possibly can, getting off there because there's no way I'm going to let a guy like that fly a plane that I'm on. Let me just take one step back and ask another question. How many of you have got a captain like that in charge of your lives right now? How many of you have written down goals? How many of you have a crystal clear picture of exactly where your life's going to be 10 years from now? Because guess what? We're all going to arrive somewhere 10 years from now. Are you going to just be like a paper cup laying in the car park? From side to side that you have no idea, and maybe by some fluke chance you're going to arrive where you want to arrive, or you're going to be one of those people that are going to know exactly where you're going to arrive. How are you going to know exactly where you're going to arrive? Because it's the picture you've created in your future, and you're doing the things every single day that are going to take you from where you are to where you want to go. Now, I want to share with you a little story now. About 16 years ago, I was driving down the highway between Johannesburg, or between Pretoria and Johannesburg, and I was one of those really driven, I thought inspired individuals that had to be in front at all costs. There was no way. I was working 18 hours a day. I was determined. I was going to walk on you, stand on you, stomp on you, do whatever, but I was going to win. And it manifested in a road rage incident. Flying down the highway, driving at 160 k's an hour, and there was another young man just like me. And there was 3 lanes on the highway, but there was only one fast lane. And of course, we must have the fast lane. So we were bumping each other. There's no way I was going to go into the second lane for about 5 minutes down the highway. It was great, beautiful experience. I learned so much. It was fantastic. Eventually, we bumped each other enough times that I actually managed to spin my car over the top of his car, hit down on the highway, slid across the road, took 20 by 16 centimeters off the top of my head. That video was taken before this, okay? I wasn't managed. The worst part wasn't losing the top of my head. The worst part was that I managed to fracture my spine. C5 and 6. Now the challenge with C5 and 6 is those are the 2 parts of your spine that sort of control the movement of your arms and legs. So I was lying in ICU and didn't have the prognosis wasn't great. I had a 5% chance of walking. Superman, who had a similar, he had Superman. He had a 3% chance of walking, he didn't turn out too well. Somebody was smiling, little guardian angel looking down at me. But anyway, while I was lying there, and I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, I'm a great believer in have big dreams, because as Les Brown says, most people don't miss achieving their potential because they aim too high and miss. It's because they aim too low and hit. So I'm a great believer in having huge goals, huge things that you're going to aim for. And so while I was lying there, unable to move, I thought, why don't I run competitions next year? So I was lying there, and the dog walks in and he looks down at me like this, and when they've got that right run on their face and they're shaking their head and they're going, you're not going far, you better just get used to this because this is where you stay. But what was the reality? It's not what other people think about us. Doesn't matter what I think of you sitting in this room right now. Of 36 opinions, does any one of them matter? Is any one of them going to matter to, or make a difference to how my life turns out? Whose opinion matters? Whose belief matters? So if you have that belief in yourself, which I did, and I lay there and I said, I'm going to run comrades. So I looked up at the doctor and I said to him, I'm running comrades next year. And in the best sort of supportive voice he could muster, he said to me, have big dreams, aim for big things. And yes, I did. I ran comrades. I ran 3 more. But let me just quickly digress and tell you about comrades. If you ever have a weak moment and you think about running comrades, lie on the floor on the 16th of June, okay? Get a close family member with a 16-pound hammer to beat you on the bottom of your feet for 10 solid hours. Way, way less painful. Okay, so don't run comrades. But the most important lesson that I learned was while I was lying there, I realized that we've all heard of the 8th wonder of the world called compounding. Efforts add up over time, even if they're small and they seem insignificant. But if you keep doing them and you keep doing them often, they add up to the most incredible outcomes, the most incredible results. If you've got 2 people, one person takes 125 calories out of their diet, the other person adds 125 calories to their diet. 1 can of Coke a day. After 6 or 8 months, with a rounding error, very little difference. 18 months, the person with the extra 125, yeah, it's starting to appear. 31 months later, the person that's added 125 calories to their diet, 9 kilos heavier. Person who's taken it out, 9 kilos lighter. So whether you know about compounding or you don't, it all adds up either way. So what I'm saying to you today is, look at these concepts I'm going to bring to you. Look at introducing them into your life. Look at my code of personal achievement, which I'll describe to you just now. 5 things you're going to bring into your day. 5 insignificant actions you're going to take every single day that over time are going to add up. Over time are going to compound into the type of success that you're actually wanting to achieve. What have you got today? You have everything today. One of the most important things we need to get into our heads. If we can understand why we want to achieve something, it becomes easy. Because, what did I say earlier? There's no such thing as a one-sided world where you have the secret and we skip through life and it's just one-sided magnet, one-sided positive life. Really? Life happens. Shit happens every single day. So how do we keep ourselves going? How do we keep ourselves persevering through those tough times? Because they're not maybe going to happen, they are going to happen. We need to have a reason why. So if I've got a plank and it's about this wide, and I stick it down the middle of this passage here, and I say, right, take us $100 to walk along this plank. How many people are going to do it? Or should I rather say how many people are not going to take my 100? Okay, but I change one thing. I take that plank and I stick it between those 2 buildings there. And I say to you now, how many people in the room are now going to take my $100? Any takers? Same plank. It's just high. There's the winds blowing, the rain's coming down. It's risky now. Now we're not going to do it. What's changed? But I changed one thing now. The child's on this building. You're over there. That building is on fire. The flames are licking at your child's feet. How many mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts are going to run across that same plank in the same rain, in the same wind, and go across to the other building to go and rescue their child? Every single one. What changed? The reason why. So if you have a deep, rooted reason to do something, to achieve, to become more, nothing is going to stop you. How many people here in the room could go and write me a check for R1,000,000 today? Bet you can. I have a property. You can sell it tomorrow morning for 20 million rand. But you've got to pay R1,000,000 rand for it today. How many of you can raise that R1,000,000 rand now? What's changed? The reason why. So look deep inside yourself and find the reason why you want to succeed. Take one step back and ask yourself this question. What does success mean to me? Because until I know what success means to me, am I aiming for what I really want? For example, Lindsay Lohan is successful, isn't she? River Phoenix was successful, wasn't he? Elvis Presley was very successful, wasn't he? But they drank and destroyed their lives. Why? Because they never knew what success meant to them. Does success mean that shiny BMW? Does success mean lots of money? Does success mean time and freedom to spend time with your family? Does success mean standing here in front of this room and talking with passion to people like you? What does success mean to you? Because when you can define what success means to you, you know why you want it. Do you think anything can stop you? Do you have to wake your 10-year-old child up on a Saturday morning, kick him out of bed and make him go and play video games? No. He's there already. He's been there since 5 a.m. Why? Because he loves it. Because it's aligned with his values. It's aligned with what he wants to do. So why don't you find that in your life? But then we need to take one step back, okay? And we need to say, I may not be doing what I want to be doing right now. But that's just now. Everything in my life can be viewed from two perspectives. It can either be viewed as, oh my God, get up today, and this job is in my way, and I don't know where I'm going. Or I can go, you know what? This is on my way. What can I get from my job? What can I get from my day? How can I get as much as possible from this experience? Same situation, same place. All I'm changing is my thinking patterns. So it's not a case of rebooting my life. It's a case of making small shifts.